started playing disc golf just under a year and a half ago, and like many of you, I became obsessed. My creative side made this YouTube channel.
Welcome to my van. Today, I'm at Old City Park.
But my competitive side made a wild goal.
Ultimately, I want to move my division from MA2 all the way to playing and cashing and maybe even eventually winning on the Pro Tour.
Now that goal was obviously pretty audacious, and so as I got better at disc golf and was playing with better and better people, I realized the gap between your local pro and someone who could cash consistently or even win at the Pro Tour level was a pretty big gap. So I changed that goal to what I thought was a little more realistic in a 3 to 5 year time frame. My goal here on the channel is to cash at a Pro Tour event. This weekend was my first chance to actually make that happen. The 41st Grip Equipment Kansas City Wide Open, sponsored by Dynamic Discs, a Disc Golf Pro Tour silver event. These were some of the best but most intense 3 days of my life. It is the first day of my first Disc Golf Pro Tour event. I've noticed that I've built up a little caffeine dependency, and like when I don't get it, man, it is crazy. I did get like 9 hours of sleep last night, so that's a big, big win. Gotta live with the hand that I've created for myself. I like to kind of progressively warm up, get all my blood flowing, do some putts, dynamic stretching, and also get mentally dialed in, because my goal for this tournament is just to cash. I'm not trying to win. Cashing even is going to be difficult, especially because this is probably my last tournament of the year. We'll talk about that next week. I might add some more to the schedule. I've been a little burnt out living in the van, and so I'm excited for some changes that are going to be coming pretty soon. Really reworking a like kind of high release point. Just like getting my hand at the top of the chains and making sure I follow through up there, not up, but up to the top point of the change, a full extension. One of the main things that I do before tournaments, especially if my putt hasn't felt great, is mainly try to practice for hours the week leading up to the tournament. If you guys watched my recent collabs with Broderick, you saw putting that was abnormally bad for me, and I knew that I had to figure something out because I kept missing low, and then Simon Lazada actually talked to me for a couple minutes when I was at the preserve about parts of my putt, and that kind of messed me up mentally. And so I spent about 4 hours the week leading up to this tournament reworking my putt to get a higher elbow first release that releases high in the chains and lets it drop like you see a lot of pro players do. Made sure to get my body warm, my putt warm, and those perfect conditions that we had all morning started to break down a little bit right before my tee time. Genuinely afraid my hat's gonna blow off right now. That is the tee box for hole 1. Jeez. Now, I don't have a ton of in-round footage from the first or third rounds. We'll talk about the second round here in a second. But stepping up to hole number 1, even in the wind, was able to put it inbounds a little bit scarily, put the upshot close to the basket, and was able to tap in to start out with a birdie. Unfortunately, I went par-par on the next 2 holes from inside the circle, took another 4 pars in a row, got 3 more birdies throughout the rest of the round, as well as a couple bogeys, leaving a pretty boring 2 down to start out the tournament. But I was able to actually capture 1 shot, which is my putt for the birdie on a really tough hole number 5, which I'm very happy leaving with the par, but you might as well run it. Come on, nice and high. I ended up playing a pretty solid round. I had 2 bogeys and 2 OB strokes, neither of which were on the same hole. Both the bogeys came on holes that I knew if I didn't get out the gap, then I was going to take a bogey at best. I am not birding this hole. I have to get out the gap though to get a par. Didn't get out the gap, able to take the bogey, I'm very happy about. Hole 16.
You can see the lovely gap here. Get it out the gap, get it over the hill, into the green for a birdie.
Shanked it off the gap, it just kicked so far to the right. Basically, almost had to re-tee even with my pitch out. I was like 100 feet up the fairway on a 960-foot hole, and I ended up taking that as my only other bogey. 2 down has me tied 22nd out of like 110 people just about, and tomorrow I'm gonna be on a really fun card. Stay in my own head, play my own game. Tomorrow, hopefully we can do it again. I'm probably gonna shower, eat some food. Is there still time to put it in order?
Yeah,
Indian cuisine is my favorite. You get so much rice, butter chicken. Okay, so I just got this email from the TD. I had to add a Mando and like reach out to DGPT and PDGA because there was no Mando on that hole, and Gannon like totally broke the hole. Threw out of bounds, had the easiest upshot in the world, and took a birdie. I'm gonna try to see what he says about that tomorrow and get it on video for you here. Looks like I tried to make him a hostage, but I didn't.
All right, what's up guys? It is Gannon, and I basically played it way out left. Supposedly almost hit a player in the head, which is actually not true. I called Corradallen and he said they were on the tee pad whenever my disc came in. A little upset, I won't be able to do it tomorrow. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go down the middle. Hopefully I can get better than a par, that's my goal. Feels cool to make a course, change mid-tournament.
I'm gonna half answer a question that a lot of you guys probably have if you've known about my tour that I've been on. Because I've been on the road living in the van for 2 months now, playing these tournaments and not expecting to be back in Colorado until October. And a big part of that is just getting out content every single day like I have been for a while, but that did come with a lot of problems that we'll get into in one big later video, which I'm really excited about, but that especially was a problem during tournament time.
I'm not editing tonight. My mental energy to edit, which I know is gonna take like an hour and a half, is gone. I started like watching coverage to see Gannon's throw. But I'm trying to conserve my mental energy. It's been brutal in the van, honestly, like financially. I thought it was gonna be a big win because it's like, oh, there's so many interesting things are happening. Yeah, I get to travel for, but people don't watch as much disc golf in the summer, which makes sense. Kind of seasonal sport, people are out playing instead of watching it. So I'm probably gonna be headed home. But a full video coming out about that. Because right now, home is this Walmart that's right next to a Cracker Barrel over there. Dude, I pull up to Cracker Barrel and what do I see? But Joey Buckets, the disc golf kid, Braden Sides, and Micah Groth, all just hanging out.
I guarantee he hit one of the posts.
I woke up so tired this morning, and I got like 9 hours of sleep-ish. Odd. Ready for the day. It's gonna be good. It's like gloomy all day. It's supposed to be like 75-ish degrees as a high, which is kind of nice. It means you can wear long sleeves. And after this coffee, I'm probably just gonna head straight to the course. My body feels so not warm at all. All right, so we got just under 2.5 hours until my tea time. I always like to come out here. I haven't really eaten anything today, so it's probably gonna be next on the agenda. I was dreading making food, and I remembered I cashed my wallet, and cash isn't real money. So I just spent some cash and got some food from my run. Just get my putt warm, take 4 putters. Really trying to dial my circle 2s. These circle 2s, I think I'm switching to a straddle because I don't miss left and right, or I haven't missed left and right yet. And I just gotta dial in the height and like make sure I spin it. Glad that I had practiced that a lot last year because it's something that my muscle memory remembers. So as long as I can get confidence on the green, that's when the putts are gonna go in. It's all about the confidence, baby. Okay, so I'm warming up my forehands and the top knuckle on my middle finger, which is what everything flicks off, feels really bad. Like, feels like there might just be a little extra gas in there, but I don't want to push it. Like, feels like it could pop out. That's a little scary to think about, honestly.
So you guys have seen me both days warming up my putt, but I haven't really filmed a lot of me warming up my throwing. Obviously, I did a little bit of forehand warm-ups, and on this backhand and forehand, really all I'm trying to do is dial in release points. On this course specifically, like, you're not really throwing a lot of hyzers, so I have to make sure that I can throw hyzers, flat, and anhyzer. And the anhyzer is really the one that I was struggling with today. As you're going to see here, I'm throwing that Calvin Destroyer. I flexed it, but it really was a little nose up, so you guys are actually resting on some discs that I had to pick up, which is why there was such weird framing. But I want to make sure that all angles were feeling good moving into the day, and that I'd thrown some hard shots before the first tee shot.
Also, though, it's really cool to be like warming up at the same time that, like, these are all the names that I would have recognized coming into the event, and I'm warming up at the same time as them on the second day, meaning that I earned it. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully we can do the same thing tomorrow. Let's get this round, baby. I'm excited.
Hole 1 started out as a nightmare. Big shout out to Matt from Wild Runs Disc Golf, who was able to actually get a lot of filming. I'm guessing he had media creds. But what you just watched was throw number 5, because I had 3 OBs on that hole, including that one, tapping in for a 7. Luckily, I was able to bounce back with the birdie on hole number 2 and a forehand roller on hole number 3 to get out the gap for this approach shot, which I was pretty excited about. I was still a little bit nervous throwing more full power shot, so I left it a little bit low on a hyzer flip line, but I kept the line really tight, so I was luckily in bounds with this super long putt for the birdie, which I just totally undercommitted to. The circle 2s have been a problem this weekend. Hole 4, I actually lost my Calvin Destroyer, the one that I had aced with Joe Freeman and Joe Revere on the card for my drive on hole number 1. And so I was forced to throw my most overstable Destroyer, which is that 2021 Calvin Destroyer, and that's basically going to be my workhorse overstable guy for the day, unfortunately. My upshot with my CD1 did not really pan out. I threw a little nose up, end up pitching up right under the basket, and it rolls to 30 feet. But I'm able to make the putt for the par, move us on to hole number 5, my most daunting hole on the course, I think, off the tee. End up getting a little bit lucky with that kick, found a gap to try to not get too aggressive through, and then I'm able to pitch this Firebird on this hyzer line, which is what I basically want to be playing off the tee, and luckily I'm able to take a par. Hole number 6 is a 588-foot par 4. I throw my Firebird off the tee into the perfect landing zone. Kind of had that shot dialed, and we have an honor upshot of just a little flex forehand. Don't quite flex it enough, but you should get a counter skip because of the grade of the hill, but I think I just hit an old stump, and it stops it in its tracks. Try to make an anti-putt happen, and I really need to work on those anti-putts, but we tap in another par. Hole 7 is a great addition to the course. It's a 411-foot par 3. I'm throwing my Destroyer and get it just perfectly pin high. Was a little bit nervous because it was a little bit inside, and there's OB over on that path, but I'm just in bounds. And that's my first circle 1 miss of the day, unfortunately. Take the par and move us out of hole number 8, where I know I need to get out the gap, so I just try to throw as low as I can, try to get over this hill and pitch up and get close to the basket with my Banana Club zone. Ends up being the perfect shot, and I would take that every day. Matt gets the drive on hole 9, which I actually end up bogeying, and then we meet again on hole number 12 after a par on 10, a birdie on 11, and a couple of decent shots lead me to another birdie on hole 12. Hole 13, I'm just hyzer clipping something slightly uphill on a 370-foot hole. Getting another birdie, so we're 3 in a row after starting with a triple, meaning that we finally got back to even. Was really nervous about that drive, but it winds up in a decent spot to just throw a pitch hyzer with my Firebird. And puts me inside the bullseye. Super stoked on that, getting us back under par for the day. Hole 15, I was feeling the momentum, so I decided that instead of laying up, I would go over the water, and I have a pretty simple inside the circle putt. And we'll get back to that in a second because I'll explain these final 3 holes in person on the day.
Not a great round. I was battled though. The way that I battled, I'm stoked with, because that 3 over through 1 hole could really make you be like, okay, well, back it up. I'm gonna shoot 10 over. Like, it's very possible out here to just like go shoot an easy 10 over, but battle back all the way through 4 straight birdies on the back to get to 1 down through 15. Missed that birdie putt on 15. I'm from like 25 feet, just close to the water. 3 bogeys in a row after 16. There were spectators, and I had to throw a forehand over them. I really didn't feel confident with it, so I changed my disc, and then I tried to throw something similar. Didn't work out. Got in the woods, pitched out. Had a 45-footer, missed it. Hole 17, got out the gap, missed a forehand roller, missed a second shot, pitched up, made a 30-footer. Hole 18, thought I was playing perfectly through my drive. Perfect spot for my zone approach. Perfect spot, 370 into the pin, uphill. Should be easy straight to hyzer shot. I throw that shot, I'm like, oh, it's perfect out of the hand. And then I look up and see that there are branches that I did not even take into account. So I should have thrown it straight at the basket instead of on a hyzer. Hit the branches, go OB, pitch up. Make another 25-footer. Take a +3 in the last 3 holes, bringing me to 2 over, which is still 992 right now unofficially. So I'm still over 1,000 for the tournament, but it does move me down to tied 40th. So I am barely in the cash. There's no reason why I can't have a solid round tomorrow. Just have to not throw it OB 3 times on the first hole. Shanked it because I was so nervous to be playing with the guys I was playing with, and I was top of the box. Didn't even aim, just aimed straight right out of my hand. I was like, what the heck did I do? These are the best 2 rounds back to back that I put together so far this year. So let's try to do it one more time.
No.
Sure, it's easy, yeah.
I can't do it. I'll die.
Absolutely.
Trick shot time. Ha ha ha.
Just like it up. Pretty much same routine. Grab some Starbucks, head to the course. My tee time is 45 minutes earlier than it was yesterday. They did send out a projected payout sheet today. Apparently because of how many people were in the tournament that like dropped late and couldn't get refunded or something, they pay out to 48 spots, not 44 like I thought. So I'm actually 2 strokes in the cash, but I'm really not trying to let that get to my head at all. So this is really bad from the Pro Tour in my opinion, because they did send out that email and that's what I was going off of during the whole round. I thought that there was 48 spots to cash. Towards the end of my round, when I did start looking at my scores, which we'll get into in a second, I was worried about getting at least 48th place. Obviously as good as I could. And yeah, this is partially on me not actually fully reading the document, but I'll show you the email here where if you click on the email where it says this is the projected payout sheet, I just looked at the spots and it said 48 spots. But that was the DDO projected payout sheet. There was another one that was attached to the email, or if you just went onto the PDGA, you would be able to see the projected payout was actually only 44 spots. But in my head, going into this last round, I thought it was 48 because of the click here link that was in the email that the Pro Tour sent out about the projected payout. That could have a major effect on today.
I'm feeling the pressure of like, oh, I need to cash now. I'm only one solid. It's not even a great round. I'm just a solid round away from cashing today. So let's make it happen. Honestly, if I get the drive at inbounds on hole 1, I can shank it into those trees to the left. Don't even care.
We'll get into the round in a second, but that's exactly what I did.
Just walk off of 18. And
all right, super quick breakdown of the final round. Shanked it straight into those trees left. Having taken that triple bogey the day before, I really was just making sure that I got it over by the basket side. Honestly, I tried to throw my Pathfinder into the basket, pitched up under the basket, took a par. Hole 2, parked it, just like second day. And then hole 3 was a little bit interesting. Was able to get out the gap through a shot that I thought probably clipped the corner of inbounds up where the green is, but my card decided that it didn't. That's fair of them. It's very hard to say either way. Went back to about a 350-ish foot uphill shot through my CD1, absolutely parked it. Hole number 4, through this disc, which is the replacement to the one that I had thrown in the water the day before, which is still in the water at this point. It's a little more overstable and less glidey because it's less beat in, but it's also now a special disc because of all the signatures that we have on it, basically commemorating my whole weekend. Thought I threw a great shot, ended up being too early because it's not as glidey as my other one. Threw a pretty good second shot. This should be a really routine up and down with my zone from about 150 feet, and I put it to 40 feet short, missed the putt. Hole number 5, got very lucky off the drive. Had a very difficult second shot, was able to just pitch up and take another par. Shot that hole even par throughout the weekend, par, which I'm super stoked on. Hole 6, finally was able to take the birdie from about a 15-foot putt. Hole 7, again, I put it pin high and inbounds, just about 35 feet, and I'm really waiting to make my first circle 2 putt of the tournament. And these are my general thoughts about circle 2 at this point. This is before the round.
I don't know how to make circle 2 putts. Stand still, some of them. Little inline stepper, some of them. Not doing straddle stepper anymore. Hopefully we don't leave ourselves too many. As long as we hit our circle 1s today, we should be good. I just want to make one circle 2 putt this tournament.
I didn't make it. It was 35 feet. Off the top of the band. At least it was the sound of commitment, as Nate Turner would say. Hole number 8, didn't get out the gap. I literally hit the first tree on the left side, threw a decent second shot. Threw my third shot, straight OB. But I was able to get up and down for a 6. So I took a double bogey, and at this point, I am 2 over for the round. Hole 9, I'm walking up to a 270-foot gap shot. Should be pretty simple. I'll take my CD1 because I'm a little bit more comfortable hitting gaps with it, and I just end up early releasing because I'm trying to watch my shot too much. Pretty simple, just zone pitch. So I'm 2 over going into the back 9, knowing that 2 over for the tournament might cash, but it's probably on the edge of that 48 cash line. Hole number 10, I was just trying to execute another par because I'm not going for it. I was thinking about going for it because I was 2 over, able to take my 3 there. Hole 11, ended up parking it with a similar shot to this. Hole 12, I got around the corner again, had a forehand roller to try to get up and down for the eagle, which ended up just laying on the side of a tree. Didn't even really run the putt. I just put it under the basket. Another bullseye hit, birdie. Hole 13, 364 foot. Played it 3 under. I got the birdie all 3 days. 14 should be another relatively routine one, but I really like throwing my other destroyer, the one that's a little more glidey. So this one I put a little flex on and a little bit more high left side. So I had a little bit farther of an upshot, which is a really weird distance because there's OB long. Ended up just shorting it and I was 40 feet again, but putting downhill basket on the left side. So my putt, as it's an elevated basket, would hyzer, and if it doesn't hit the basket, it's going in the water. Put it under the basket, try to play disciplined, because at this point, I'm back to 1 under, knowing that I can get a couple more of these birdies on the back, including hole number 15, which I threw a very similar shot to the day before, ended up getting a similar amount of luck, but it was even a little bit closer and had a 10-foot cleanup for the birdie. So now we're 2 down, moving into hole number 16, which I didn't get out the gap on the first day. That's in my head a little bit. I'm just thinking, okay, run up correctly. I have good momentum. I go through my swing path, early releasing it again and throwing it into the first tree, having to pitch up to the FPO tee pad, which is the drop zone if you were to go OB. Only gets to the top of the hill. End up throwing an all right shot, have another 70-footer, miss that one, take a double bogey. So now I'm back to even. And I know that even par is probably going to cash because I'm looking at scores at this point. Again, I'm looking for 48th place. I'm not even thinking about 44th. And I know, hey, I want to make sure that I get one of these last 2 birdies, 17 or 18. I feel like that would give me a really good, not quite guarantee, but close enough that I feel confident that I did everything that I could to cash at my first Pro Tour event. 17, throw the perfect tee shot, just pure straight out the gap. The only problem with this hole is you have to land like a 5 square foot area to have like a really good second shot. And so even though I was in a good position, I had a really awkward either backhand or forehand through a very small gap or around some trees. It was not a very comfortable shot. I ended up forehanding my Pathfinder up the hill. So I'm right side, 34 feet. This is finally my chance to get that circle 2 putt, end up shorting it. But I am also happy that it was 34 feet because so far I'm 100% inside the circle. And we move up into hole number 18, which is the only drive that I recorded. Happened to be my biggest drive on the weekend on that hole. I felt very confident about it, but this is that drive. And then my final thoughts on the round and my general final placement. Just walked off of 18, got the birdie. Finally. Should have got it all 3 days, but I finally got today and I'm 1 down. Right now it's tied 39th. I think I just cashed at my first Disc Golf Pro Tour event. I'm so stoked. It was not a great round, but we made it happen. We fought. In case you're wondering how my tournament went, baby. God,
Whoa.
why are you so much taller than me?
And the sun's in the way too. Anthony was able to cash.
What did you do at the time?
I just got so lucky, dude. I just somehow like they just handed me this after I like tapped in my final putt. I don't know why. People were clapping and stuff, so it's like I guess I did pretty good.
Didn't expect it to happen that I would cash this week, but 1,001 rated tournament. Only person under 990 rated to shoot under par for the event. Only one last thing to do, and that's to pull out that destroyer that I aced with on the card with Joel Freeman and Joe Revere. Dude, that wasn't even close. Definitely not a recreation.
So I did end up cashing. I was tied 38th for the weekend, which made me $360. I want to thank you guys so much for following this journey. I didn't think that at my first go around at a Pro Tour event, I would be cashing, but I do know that this is the weakest field that they've had the entire year, which is why the next goal is to cash in elite events. There will be some merch that's coming out over the next few weeks and months. That's just a fun design that I'm working on right now. I'll explain to you guys more about why I'm here and not in the van, as well as why there have been so few videos recently. I wanted to give this one the time that it deserved, but I wanted to give a shout out to everybody who is on this disc, everyone who made the weekend special. Met a lot of cool people, met a lot of you guys. This was truly one of the best experiences and events that I've ever been to. There's a lot of my game that I still know that I need to work on, which I'm excited to take you guys on that journey. The channel is not over because I cashed at a Pro Tour event. Don't worry. In fact, I genuinely think that things are gonna get significantly better content-wise, idea-wise, and my play-wise. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit at this point, but again, thank you guys so much for following the journey. I appreciate all of you guys who believed in me more than I did for a lot of the last year, especially as this form change was happening. I'll see you guys soon. Maybe not tomorrow, but maybe tomorrow. Who knows? Okay, love you guys. Bye.